How to make Utopia. The following is a plan for a utopian construct which I believe will be feasible within the next 15 to 20 years. The first element of this is research, the act of refining human understanding and technology. By understanding, I mean physical phenomena in the universe, biological phenomena, and evolving more complex technology with that refined understanding that can achieve more complex goals. Second is a transition to sustainable transport. Uh, hit like a zero emissions benchmark there for vehicles and possibly commercial flight. Lilium is doing a simple electric jet, which is definitely not commercial flight capacity, but it's a start and it's a move in the right direction, and there are other companies doing the same. We could also do a full self-driving fleet in which road fatality is a thing of the past, and I expect that possessing an autonomous vehicle will be the equivalent in 15 years of possessing an iPhone today. And so, essentially, since the FSD beta software is moving along well and dealing with human drivers, then a entire fleet of these will be far safer than humans, and road fatality virtually eliminated once it becomes an entire fleet. At least in areas in which the roads are not too rough or roads in rural areas would be slightly more difficult, but majority of roadways. Also, we'd have the world's information at your fingertips. Electronic devices, computers, phones, access any content you want, pretty much, as to what's happening anywhere on the globe. We'd also have mainly biodegradable and recyclable materials for storage, packaging, and we'd understand all the complex enzyme processes involved in plastic recycling. Given that we're doing research and refining our understanding of physical reality, we can go ahead and optimize plastic recycling and other things. Also, energy storage, in particular battery technology. We need to be working on enhancing our ability to store energy, given the fluctuating nature of renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. And so, optimizing battery technology, hugely important. Also, we would need specialization optimized education. What I mean by that is currently the education system is not specialization optimized. You have to take many extraneous requirements to meet the just graduation requirements, and many students forget 80% or upwards of the content that they learn in college, and they end up doing something different for their careers, or forget it, never use it in any reasonable way in their careers or in their lives. And so if we had specialization optimized education that is basically structured such that you're producing individuals who are excited about a certain field, just gives them a fast track to become incredibly skilled, work on relevant projects, and then give them a high probability of becoming hired in their desired field. That would be far greater than the current educational system. We can also have internet access in rural areas. Services like Starlink are doing global coverage, high speed, low latency internet globally, like a 550-kilometer orbit, and that's going to be an affordable service, an affordable service in most areas, and that could solve that problem. We could also do food wastage eliminated. The United States wastes approximately 40% of the food that it produces. That it produces. So if the United States is wasting 40% of its food, meanwhile there are millions with hunger issues in Africa. And so if a country is wasting 40% of its food, could it not optimize its production such that you're producing just enough for your populace, and maybe using those excess resources to support the poor and disadvantaged instead of wasting 40% of your food? We can also do net zero carbon farms. So I'd say, just given where we are with carbon emissions, optimizing farms such that they're net zero would be helpful. And so I think some companies in California are doing this. We can also have artificial intelligence assisted healthcare. By this I mean using artificial intelligence to do protein modeling, using it for drug discovery, using it to detect tumors and all things with machine learning for detecting anomalies such as tumors from images. And AI is going to play a bigger role in healthcare. I can see AI assisted healthcare improving things a lot. Also, venturing into space and expanding the scope and scale of consciousness. Why is that important? Because innovations in the space front naturally improve the way that civilization is structured back on Earth. For example, services like Starlink are only possible with repeated launches of Falcon 9 to set those satellites at their 550-kilometer orbit, so that they can have the low latency to supply a reasonably low cost internet access in rural areas. And also, why do we need to venture into space? Because the sun is, even if nothing bad happens, the sun is a regular star in the universe, and so it has a life cycle. And so in 500 million to 1 billion years, it will be in the red giant phase, such that the heat radiation will evaporate the water from planet Earth, and Earth will be uninhabitable in the long term. And so it's a natural thing for us to figure out how to leave home planet and expand further out into the solar system. Also, quantum computing. Quantum computing is very exciting. The computational advantage presented in certain areas due to the properties of quantum mechanics, specifically massive parallelism because of entanglement, and that sort of computational speed up from the property of quantum mechanics. It makes it incredibly good at tackling certain optimization problems, and it could be incredibly useful in solving carbon sequestration problems, electric vehicle battery optimization problems, and also quantum machine learning, providing computational speed ups in machine learning could help improve things. Another attribute is friendly competition. Sports, chess, coding competitions, just the competitive spirit of humanity is a beautiful thing. Um, and so friendly competition and competition that makes us better and that increases respect for one another is a hugely important aspect of human civilization. Also, sustainable fashion, and make sure that all our printing techniques and other ways that we deal with fashion are done in a climate conscious way, in an environmentally conscious way. Sustainable fashion, look good uh, and, and and have a clear consciousness as to your environmental impact. We also have many solar and wind farms. Um, there's also companies like Ocean Wind doing wind farms with turbines in the ocean. And so basically, the Earth has characteristic fluid flows or wind patterns. And so you'd want to find what coordinates on planet Earth have the highest um, the highest frequency of high velocity wind, and go ahead and establish an ocean wind farm or wind farms in those areas. And also we can do solar farms, find optimal areas in terms of percentage of of sunlight received in those areas, and have solar and wind farms. Um, Nuclear is needed. I do not think we should shut down the fission plants, and I think there are companies like Helion working on fusion, who have a fusion reactor such as Polaris that is expected to hopefully produce net electricity from fusion by 2024. And so fusion is a thing, and it's because we're doing research, we're refining our human understanding of physical reality. And so, well, if we're orbiting a fusion reactor, then we need to unpack the process of fusion and figure out under what conditions and what technology do we need to imitate the process of fusion on planet Earth. And so Helion is doing. They currently have Trenta, but Polaris is expected to produce net electricity by 2024, and which is quite exciting. And so fusion could be a reality for this civilization. We can also do poverty eliminated. That's because basically just reallocation of resources such that all the food that's wasted, all the resources that's wasted, all the excess, instead of all this excess, we can support the poor and get them into a specialization optimized education program such that they acquire valuable skills and can therefore have a stable place in civilization. We can do poverty eliminated, definitely. Also, net zero factories. What this is a manufacturing facility with zero carbon emissions, but also net zero energy consumption. And so basically, let's say you have a manufacturing facility with solar on the roof, possibly a nearby wind farm, and excellent batteries for energy storage. Then this facility can operate in isolation with no environmental impact. And by this I mean that all of the assembly line robots and all the machinery involved within the factory is operating on the clean energy generated by the factory itself, and that's the concept of a net zero factory. As long as the earth keeps on spinning, the sun keeps on shining, and the wind keeps on blowing, and the batteries are optimized such that they can deal with the fluctuations in renewable energy sources, then the factory operates in isolation with no environmental impact. And assembly line robots, all machines operate on the clean energy generated by the factory itself. It's just net zero, which is quite beautiful. Also, for in terms of social structure, marriage and family, very important. Because in the raising of children, it is ideal to have a male and female role model, and for children to have the comfort and safety of a home, and to grow up in that environment. Hugely beneficial to their development as a person. and their worldview and everything else. Marriage and family. We can also do carbon capture and have many plants of that are doing carbon capture and sequestration, reducing the parts per million of carbon in the Earth atmosphere, which is good. And for those of you who are uncertain about climate change, basically the atmosphere contains certain gases, and the more carbon or methane and all the things that are in the atmosphere, the 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 heat radiation that is normally lost to space, as more carbon and methane and other greenhouse gases are added to the atmosphere, that heat energy is reflected back down to Earth. And so fundamentally, if you put more physical carbon particles or physical methane, physical carbon dioxide or other carbon compounds into the atmosphere, and methane and all things, if you put those physical things into the atmosphere, the heat that's normally lost to space is reflected back down, and it messes up the natural carbon cycle of the planet, which increases the probability of things like hurricanes, flooding, wildfires, ocean acidification, and everything else. It throws off the planetary balance. Carbon capture going, carbon sequestration. We also do ocean cleanup, and so this is related to plastic killing the reefs, plastic killing the reefs, messing up the ecological harmony of sea life. And so we can get some ships going, throw some nets overboard, and have other methods for capturing the contributors to that plastic entering the ocean, just shutting off the plastic flow from rivers that's leading to it flowing out into the ocean, shutting off that river, the river plastic output into the ocean, just shutting that off. Entertainment, and so entertainment, sports, movies. Yeah, I suppose if the world is full of weeping, we should have things to laugh about, and so entertainment is important. Also, things like smart homes. We can have a lot of smart homes. Control the internal temperature, control maybe an irrigation system of a garden from your phone. Just like control aspects of your home, and be in sync with it. Smart homes are going to make living quite nice. We could do reforestation. Companies like Aspiration are basically not quite a bank, but an institution that functions like a bank and uses small sections of your account balances to plant trees and do other things, and so there are many organizations that are starting to do that. I recommend Aspiration because they're really good at just taking small amounts of money out of your account balances and using it to do reforestation. Aspiration. We also fundamentally, water is the stuff of life. We need pure water, and so we can do water filtration systems, water purification systems. We don't want any things like cholera outbreaks or anything like that. Fundamentally, water is the stuff of life, and so we need pure water everywhere. And finally, money is meant to compensate human contribution or usefulness. And this entire system is feasible and will work if everyone understands that money is meant to compensate human contribution or usefulness. Um, and we can have this exchange of skills and resources and abilities. And this system is theoretically possible and will work within the next 15 to 20 years, I expect.